Greetings and welcome to Parsing John. Today we are on verse 16 and 17 of chapter 1. We've got right there and right there. Here we've got our Greek rubric to go over. Remember to peruse that, remind yourself of everything we're looking for. Okay, so this is naturally on a new piece of paper. So we're also, just like the last section, we're probably going to take the Greek versus Latin in two videos. First one being this page, second one being this one right here. All right, so let's get started. Hoti ektu pleiromatos autu hemeis pantes elabomen kai karin antikaritos. Hoti ho nomos dia mouseos edothe he karis kai he aletheia dia Iesu Christu egeneto. And that's where we're going to stop today. Okay, so probably put the rubric in a reasonably visible area. Want to find our verb in our first sentence. We've got hoti, a good comma right there. Only verb we have clearly visible is elabomen, which is going to be, because of that men, a first person, and it is plural. Lambano, lepsomai, elabon. This is going to be aorist. It is active, and it is indicative. And this one can mean take or receive, so we're not going to write that in until we have a greater context of this sentence. Okay, we want to find a plural we subject, and as we take a look, there it is right there. Hemeis. Eis is the nominative form of hemeis, naturally. You can write nominative. It is plural by nature of what it means, and masculine or feminine, it's not clear and it doesn't matter very much. All right, so this one clearly means we, so we take or took, or we received. We have to receive a direct object. So we want to take a look through the rest of this. These are clearly genitives. You get ek here, which is going to take the genitive, to pleiromatos, autu. So our prepositional phrase either ends here or ends here. We'll have to figure that out in a little bit. Leave it alone. Hoti, that's not going to be a direct object. We can go ahead and write in because. And this little word here is a reminder that verses 15 and 14 exist, and they have bearing on what the rest of this means. So you should always remember that the context does, in fact, matter, especially whenever we have something like a kai or hoti connecting one sentence to the previous. All right, so that leaves only pantes. Pantes could be either nominative or accusative plural, if memory serves, and as you know, it almost never does. Let's see. Got our friendly card here with all the forms of pas and a bunch of other words. Pantes, panton, pasi, pantas. So if it were masculine, couldn't be. This would have to be nominative. Can't be accusative. Feminine, also not accusative. Neuter does not fit as the accusative. So then clearly this has to be nominative, plural, masculine. All right, and since we already have a nominative right here in hemeis, then that means pantes is, as an adjective, is modifying hemeis, and it would just be an attributive use of the adjective. We all. All right? So far, so good. Then that means that we don't have a direct object in this sentence, which means we're not exactly sure what we take or what we received. But let's finish this prepositional phrase, and maybe that will shed some light on it. All right, so this means from, to pleiromatos, got an os ending in there, pleiroma, pleiromatos. This is a third declension. To also tells us that. And this is going to be genitive, and it is singular, spelled with a G. And the gender of this one, I think it's going to be neuter, since its nominative form would end in that alpha right there. Okay, and this just means fullness. And we do have an article, so we want to include that, from the fullness. And then autu, this is the same thing that we've seen every single time beforehand with autu. A genitive, and it is singular, and it is masculine. His. All right, so there are two different ways that we could translate this. We could have this as the possessive, as I have it currently written down, or it could mean him if it is the object of ek with the fullness owning. So we would translate this one of two ways. Either from him of the fullness, or from the fullness of him. Okay, clearly the second one of the two makes more logical sense in English. What it means exactly, context would give us a better idea reading 14 on. All right, so we're going to go with his as a possessive owning the fullness, which means our prepositional phrase ends right there. And that is all of our first clause except for elabomen. All right? Because we all take from the fullness, from his fullness. Or because we all received from his fullness. So between take, or took technically, and received is the more logical of the two. I never remember how to spell this word. Brain failure. Okay. We'll just leave it as that. Probably wrong. Okay. Kai, and taking a look through this one, we don't have anything that can be nominative. Karin here is accusative, singular, and feminine, so that's not our subject. Anti has to take an object, and since this is not poetry, we don't expect it to go back to Karin, so karitos is going to be the object. Anti, also anti takes genitive, so that makes this one genitive singular. Feminine is not spelled that way. Okay. All right, and this means grace. And anti has a couple different options for it. It could mean for, upon, or in the place of. And which of those three fits best? Since we don't have very much context to look at, we're going to have to try each of them. And grace for grace, or and grace upon grace, or grace in the place of grace. Now, technically, any of these could work. However, I'm going to lean more towards upon being the correct one, and you'll want to try to figure that out on in your own translation as you look at this. But I'm going to stick with upon. All right, verse 17. Oh, I should probably do all of verse 16. Because we all received from his fullness, and grace upon grace. Hoti, another because. Nomostia, and here is our verb. Edothe. This comes from didomi. Since we get the theta eta there, we know that this is going to be an aorist passive. From the sixth principal part, edothein, and it's going to be indicative. Don't have a subjunctive or an object to deal with. That's nice. The is our third person singular. All right, and this has been given. All right. So now we want to find a singular subject, and we take a look back. Mouseos is the object of dia, so that's not going to be it. Ho nomos, that works perfectly because we got this article right there from ho, he, to. All right, and os there is also nominative in form, so these two go together as nominative, singular, masculine. And this would mean the law. All right, because the law has been given, dia mouseos. Dia is going to take the genitive form here. And since this word, this name, Moses, is not a native Greek word, the writer here had to Hellenize, if you will, the name so that it could work in the grammar. So it's got a third declension genitive singular ending in eos. And that's, of course, masculine. Through Moses. All right, so this clause, because the law has been given through Moses, comma. All right, taking a look ahead. Again, eto, our friendly word, which we run into everywhere. Eto is naturally third person, singular. Genomai, genesomai, agenomen, aorist, and ponent, indicative. Became. All right. So we want a singular subject as we take a look ahead. Not ahead, backwards. He charis. We've finally got our nominative form of charis, that strangely forming word. Nominative, singular, feminine. The grace became. However, we now have this kai and he aletheia, which is also nominative, singular, feminine. I'm going to pull that over. So we've got two subjects, and they're both singular, but we've only got a singular verb here. So it's, right now I'm not quite sure what to do, because normally a singular verb can only be used with a singular subject or with a plural neuter. And these two are clearly not neuter, so I'm not sure why our writer here has this in the singular. There's got to be something going on, but it is beyond me. For now, though, we just have to take both of these as a combined singular subject with kai. And this is probably something that you can look up and find out for yourself, why this is allowed to happen. All right. And the truth, dia is a preposition. Iesu Christou, there's a verb. The prepositional phrase clearly ends here because these two match. All right. The grace and the truth became. Dia is going to take the genitive in its object, and this means through, just as it did right there. Iesu Christou, both of those have genitive singular masculine endings, and we can tell because they're capitalized that they are proper nouns, or names. Singular masculine, and this of course means all right. So then, we've gone through, we've parsed all of our words, came across something I don't know what to do with other than just treat these as a single noun, if you will. And otherwise, relatively straightforward, a little bit unclear of what's meant in this clause right here, but the rest of it is all still pretty understandable. All right, so our translation from the beginning. Because we all received from the fullness of him, from his fullness, and grace upon grace, because the law has been given through Moses, the grace and the truth became through Christ, period. And that ends the two verses that we're going to do today. I hope taking a look at these has been somewhat illuminating and helpful for you, and I hope that you join me in my next video. Until next time then, farewell. Pointing at you again. I don't know why I do that. Bye.